Hey everybody, it's Allie with ANC Photography. I know I've been AWOL the last 2 weeks, but once again we have been slam-packed full. I want to try and post weekly, but there's just going to be some times where it goes a week or two because we've got 3 kids, crazy schedules, and vacations coming up. And we just got back from a vacation, so that's why I didn't post last week. I was going to post nature photos, just the behind the scenes of me going out, doing some hiking, stuff like that. But the weather was really crummy. It was either cold or raining. So, we didn't get a chance to do that. But I just want to get on here, and this week's video, I'm going to show you guys, because I've looked up online other ways to set up your newborn photography in your studio other than a beanbag. The beanbag I have, it's big. I mean, it's sturdy and everything, but it's lumpy in a way. Like, it's too soft, too cushiony, to an extent where it's hard to really move the babies around and position them the way I want to. So I was looking at ways to do it rather than paying a lot of money for a Paloma shell bag and all the filling and everything else. I looked up Tabletop newborn photography setups because I was curious. There's not a ton of videos out there about it. There are, quite a few big photographers that do use it this way, but a lot of them use the Paloma shell because it's well known. It's Paloma shell. So I can't afford, I'm not on a Paloma shell budget. So I decided I wanted to do, instead of my beanbag, I have also shifted my studio as well. My newborn stuff is now over here, but let me show you what I have. I now have a tabletop. So the tabletop setup is super affordable. You still want to get a good, solid, sturdy table, so pay what money you need to do that. This one was about, I think, around $100. I can link it below. I got it on Amazon because all the other stores I checked at were all sold out. But it has multiple support beams. It is a fold-in-half travel table, so I'm able to take it to clients' homes and do portrait shoots with it in their own home. But it's got, cross beams down here to support the legs even more, a bunch of beams up here to support the stuff down here. Everything locks into place. It holds a good couple hundred pounds, I do believe, on it. I'll have to double check that, but I checked to make sure it at least was, sturdy enough for all this, which it well above and beyond is, because I would not be using it if it wasn't. But level up, and I have instead of having to layer blanket on blanket on blanket to get the smooth look and to get it nice and cushioned, mattress topper. I think it's like 26 bucks on Amazon. I can link that below as well. But I literally just placed it on the table, cut around so it cut to the shape. And then this is literally just one backdrop. And you can see, like if I were to go through and take out all the creases, it's relatively, it will be completely wrinkle free if I were to sit here and, which it just about is now. And then I put my little cushions, my pillows underneath, of course, and then if I want to expand my backdrop upwards like I would with my backdrop stand, I just use 2 little pins, just push pins right in the back that are sturdy enough that they stay in there. They're not going to pull off or anything. They're a little bit difficult to pull out, but that's a good thing. I want it that way. But they're not making a difference in my backdrop. It's not it's just one teeny tiny little hole. But you're not going to notice that because the rest of my photos are all down here. They're not at the edge of the backdrop, so it's never going to be seen. But it made it 10 times easier to swap out backdrops. We did 3 different setups. We did a gray backdrop, the gray one, the blue, and then I have a really pretty green that's over there. Might look a little yellowy. It's hard to do this. But I have a really pretty soft green color, and we did all 3 of those on top of the Flocati setup that's back there. Right there. It made it easier to swap out my backdrops. It made it easier to pose the baby. I am at sitting level with my little yoga ball seat setup that I have going on. My light source is right here. I'm able to move it around and adjust it. I've got my wraps and my headbands all right here next to me where I need them to be. I have a seating spot for the parents. I have the changing table right here, which is also a good thing to have when you have a newborn studio, is a changing table. And you can a lot of times find them on Facebook Marketplace for pretty cheap in really good condition if you don't already have one. But I just kind of made this a little newborn section. Instead of having things kind of sprawled across the studio, everything's in one spot. And then when I do need to do flickati stuff, I bring it over here to my natural light by the window. And I do most of my newborn sessions around 10 a.m. when the light's soft. It's not completely coming in, but it's good and bright and soft light. And I got some really good shots over here. The dad's a firefighter, so the mom wanted the helmet incorporated into some of the photos. And I saw some kind of unsafe ways that people were doing it on Pinterest. I'm sure maybe they did it in a way that it was safe, but I wasn't able to do it in a way that I felt comfortable with it, because it was the hat would be leaning on the baby's, the helmet would be leaning on the baby's hip, and I didn't think that was a safe bet. I think maybe somebody, you know, that did it had the right supports underneath the helmet or something, but I personally didn't want to take the risk of harming the baby because those helmets are heavy. So I went ahead and did a flickati setup down here. The mat is from Kate's Backdrops. The rest of these are from, I do believe they're from Sweet Baby Photo Props as well. It's just a faux fur and then some cushions and stuff. But I have that all set up over here, and we did quite a few shots over here as well. But just my personal review on having a tabletop versus a beanbag. I tabletop all the way, 100%. I wouldn't change it. Now that I've swapped to it, I would not change a thing about it. The beanbag was just, it was sinking in. I was going to end up having to buy more filler for it because it just sinks in over time. It took forever to try to change out my backdrops, just because you have to sit there and have to take off all the clamps and you have to undo the sides and everything else to swap them out. It was just a lot easier like this, where I could just unpin, pin back up, swap it over. It was super quick. But it also made it to where she would stop and change his diaper, do a feeding real quick, rock him for a few minutes, kind of make sure he's calm while we're transitioning to the next setup. And it gave me plenty of time to swap everything over, whereas doing my backdrop setup with the beanbag and the backdrop stand was taking double that. So it definitely adds more time to your sessions when you do, the way I was doing previously. I mean, if you have a good workflow and that's the kind of setup that you use, keep using it. Just for me, I found it easier to use the table. It gives me a sturdier place to put the baby. It gives me the ability to also put any extra props that I might be using on in a small container down below me. So all I have to do is pull it out, reach, grab, and put it in there. And I can also put my legs under the table. It allows me to get closer to baby, because trying to get close up on the baby on the beanbag, I'm having to sit there and my legs are spread like this and shoved up against the beanbag, and it's just not comfortable. Like I said, if that's the kind of setup with a beanbag that you like, that's fine. No shame in that game. That's that's how I started, and honestly, it was good for a while. I have a bad back, and that was a big reason for swapping to the tabletop. Was just my back was getting wrecked. So I do like the tabletop as a sturdier option. There's more space available in my studio because I'm able to store things underneath it. I am going to keep the beanbag there because I usually have toddler siblings that come in for a lot of those newborn sessions, and they like to bounce and run and play. So I have a little kids corner over there that I have set up. There's a table with coloring stuff. I'm going to put a little small toy box in here with just a couple of things. But I have the beanbag over there that siblings can sit on and hang out and chill, watch TV on their tablets, whatever they want to do. I do have a TV in here that I have to get set up, so that way when the siblings are here, they can lay on the beanbag and watch cartoons, because it makes it way easier when the siblings are chill until we need them for whatever photos we need them for, But yeah, like I said, I would highly advise, if you've got a bad back, or just if in general you want something a little more space conscious, more spacey, tabletop. I tried to find a lot of videos on it, and there's not a ton, honestly, less than I thought there would be. There's still a handful, but not a ton. So I wanted to get on and make a review this week for, my whole new setup, because I have had a chance to try it out today. I had a newborn in studio, and he was so stinking precious. I will share some of the photos that I took on the table, as well as just a couple of the ones that I took over there. on the Flicati because it is, oh, I love them. The natural light that was coming in was just perfect. But yeah, I just want to get on and share that with you guys. So I do recommend Tabletop. Just be careful which kind you get. A card table, which if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, it's like the ones with like the pleather cushion on the top of it, just 4 legs, real wobbly, not a whole lot going on. Don't use that. Don't ever add on to anything like this. Don't like drill in, add arms, all this crazy. That gets dangerous unless you are a trained professional licensed to add that kind of thing. Don't be doing it. That will mess with your insurance coverage, and that is in general just a safety hazard. I was going to say health hazard, or safety hazard. Mine is just the table. Just the table with the cushions on it, so that way it's soft and that's perfectly safe. I didn't add anything extra onto it, nothing like that. So just be very careful. Make sure whatever you get is very sturdy, very reliable, has a lot of support beams under it, and can hold a good solid amount of weight. I know newborns don't weigh much, but when you start piling your blankets on there, because I know a lot of photographers that do newborns, they layer on blankets instead of doing like the pillow topper or mattress topper cushion. Because I didn't even know about the mattress topper until I saw somebody in a YouTube video use it, and I'm just like, oh, that's genius. So I grabbed one. But yeah, don't ever, just get some flimsy table and stick a baby on it. That's not safe. That's not okay. We don't recommend that here. Do your research, look into things before you ever even, go off of my video or anybody else's. Do your own research, find out what's best for you, what's safest for your environment. But yeah, like I said, I recommend the Tabletop. I have done both Tabletop and now, beanbag and now Tabletop. Been using the beanbag for about a year now. It did be good for a year, but I was ready to move on and move up. So yeah, I will link those in the description below, the table topper, like the mattress topper, and the table itself, so you guys can know where I got that from. And I will go ahead and put those example photos from today's session in right now.